Here we go again. Tom Brady. It's been recommended that he will be suspended for 4 games to start this season. I'm CineSport's Noah Coslov. He's Paul Newberry of the Associated Press. The U.S. Appeals Court in the Second Circuit reinstated or recommended to the NFL that Brady's suspension be reinstated for this year. It doesn't mean that this does go into effect right away, but what do you make of this ruling?
Well, I think a big victory, obviously, for the NFL, which has really gone to the mat on this whole Deflategate thing. And I think we sort of saw this coming from in March when they had oral arguments before this appeals court. The judges seemed very skeptical of the Players Association, the argument they were making on behalf of Tom Brady, and particularly over I think they call the evidence compelling about the deflated footballs, and were particularly troubled by the cell phone that he destroyed that supposedly contained like 10,000 messages. So, like I say, kind of thought we maybe saw this coming based on the arguments, but again, big victory for the NFL to have the power to reinstate this suspension.
Sure, and this court basically said, look, this is a matter of the CBA, that if the players didn't want Roger Goodell to have absolute power, then you don't sign this CBA, you negotiate something else. And that's where the ruling came down, was that Roger Goodell had executed his power appropriately in this case.
Exactly right. And that was always kind of the thing. I guess it probably even surprised us a bit on the original ruling, because courts are real reluctant, when there's a collective bargaining agreement there, when the employees are represented by a union. This is the format that they agreed to for these sort of cases to be settled. And, legally speaking, it was probably a surprise that a judge originally overturned this case, the suspension, and not a huge surprise that an appeals court has stepped in and put it back in place.
So now when you look ahead, the Supreme Court seems a bit unnecessary here. I mean, in this case, nothing would really surprise me, but that would be outrageous. It is a possibility that the NFL and Brady now strike a deal here so that it's not 4 games, maybe it's something else. What do you think the likelihood of that would be?
Well, obviously, I think the power right now is in the NFL's hands.
Sure.
It depends on how they, do they want to kind of lay down the law after, this long legal battle with Tom Brady and a lot of hard feelings, or, like you say, maybe they come to some sort of, a 2-game suspension, perhaps. They've gone this far. I think they're going to want some sort of punishment for the whole Deflategate matter and sort of look like they came out on top. But maybe they, try to look a little generous at this point and perhaps reduce it. But I think for sure Tom Brady will be missing some games this upcoming season.
The NFL and generous, not something you hear so often in the same sentence. Paul Newberry of the Associated Press. Good talking to you. Thank you, Paul.